everyone, welcome back to Fostering Senior Pets. My name's Kimberly, and today we're going to be chatting a little bit about how to say no to a foster placement and also just how to decide whether a foster placement is the best fit for you. I'm joined today by Angel. You might hear her purring in the background. So a few things. One of the best ways to determine if a placement is best for you and also to help you say no is to set guidelines for yourself. Are there particular kinds of animals that you are most comfortable fostering? Are there particular kinds of animals that you're more likely to adopt? If you can't say no to an adorable little kitten and you're probably going to adopt them, then maybe you shouldn't be fostering kittens. That's one of the things that I do is I choose fosters sometimes based on whether I would actually consider adopting them, because I want to make sure that I have room in my home for a foster because I'm really passionate about it. So in terms of guidelines, you can figure out what kinds of animals you're most comfortable caring for, what kind of commitment you're able to provide to the foster placement, whether that's number of hours in a day you need to commit to the animal, or whether that's length of time you can keep an animal in your home. Also, what kind of care are you comfortable providing? If an animal needs specialized care and you don't have the skills or time, then it makes it a lot easier to figure out whether the placement's a good fit for you, and also to say no if that kind of opportunity is presented to you. Another good thing to keep in mind is what are your plans for the next few months? It might depend on the kind of foster, but a lot of foster placements are a month or two, sometimes longer. So if you're going to be traveling, you have a really busy time coming up, your partner's going away, or your kids are involved in a school play that has a lot more after school hours, or whatever it may be, maybe it's not the best time for you to be fostering if you don't have a lot of time to commit to the animal. Again, that depends on the type of animal and the situation, but it's important to be realistic with how much time you have to provide to the animal and what that animal really needs. Discuss with anyone living in your house whether you should be taking in a foster or not. So I check in with my partner. You might have kids to check in with, a roommate, parents, whomever it is, but you need to make sure that everyone in the house is on board with getting another foster placement. So check in with them, see how they're feeling, and give them the time and space that they need to make a decision for themselves. And then you can all come together and figure out whether it's a good time, a good fit, and whether everyone is committed to the responsibilities that you have decided on for each person in the household in terms of providing care for the foster. Another important thing is to give yourself space, permission, whatever it is, to say no. It's totally okay to say no. We can't say yes all the time to foster placements for whatever reason it is, but you need to check in with yourself, figure out how you're feeling. If you're at all burnt out, feeling like the start of compassion fatigue, if you are going through a stressful time, any of those kind of things, it's maybe not the best time to foster. You also need to take care of yourself along with animals, and if you get burnt out or fatigued, then you're not going to be able to care for animals in the future, and so you need to focus on your own health and well-being as well. So check in with how you're feeling. Make sure that fostering right now is comfortable for you. Do you feel like you are able to do that emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, all of that great stuff? Check in and see whether you're feeling up to it or not. There's a few different ways that you might be asked to foster. Depends on the organization. They might have a mass email that they send out to all the fosters on their list, whether they're already fostering or not. They might send out an email saying we have this pregnant cat we need a foster home for. Is anyone able to help? And they just wait for emails back about people who are available. If that's the case, it's very easy to say no if it's not a good time for you. You simply just don't respond back to the email. If it's a phone call, I know that could be a little bit more difficult for some people when you're confronted with someone asking you, we have this pregnant cat, we really need a foster home, can you help? If anything, if you're uncomfortable saying no right away, just let them know you need to discuss it with the other people in your house, or that you need a little bit of time to think about it. Can I get back to you? And that's a really easy way to do that. And you can even email them back if you feel uncomfortable with the kind of voice-to-voice refusal or saying no. I know that can be hard for some people. Same with a face-to-face ask. Say you pop into the shelter to pick up supplies or to check in or whatever it is, and they're like, hey, we have this pregnant cat, would you be able to foster? It's a little difficult to say no, I can imagine, but again, you can just let them know, hey, I just need a bit of time to think about this, or I need to check in with my partner, or I have a vacation coming up in a month and it's just not a good time for me. Try and have those kind of ready responses available to you so that you feel comfortable saying no when you need to. On the same vein, I think it's really important for organizations to be respectful of foster homes. Not everyone can foster all the time or every kind of animal. So as much as possible, they need to stick with the email list that they have. So if someone has signed up to be a foster for pregnant cats, then don't send them an email about hand feed kittens. It's really not the same kind of foster experience, and they might feel obligated to say yes. They certainly shouldn't be, but it helps if an organization can make sure that fosters are only getting emails about the kinds of animals that they feel comfortable fostering. Another thing is for organizations definitely to email as much as possible. It gives people an easy way to say no if they feel uncomfortable with fostering, but also to make sure that the foster knows that they're not the only people being emailed. So an organization really should send out an email to everyone on the list and address the email as, hey everyone, hey all our hand feed fosters, hey whatever, but not to address it personally, because that makes the foster feel like they're the only ones who are able to foster this animal, or they're the only foster that doesn't currently have a foster, so they're the only option. Organizations really need to be respectful and understanding and making sure that fosters know that there are other options for the animal and it's not their responsibility to save that animal. This is really helpful in terms of reducing compassion fatigue and burnout, and I hope organizations will definitely take that to heart. And another thing that organizations need to do is to be upfront as much as they're able to with the time commitment, responsibility, specialized care, any of that kind of information, so that fosters can make an informed decision. If a foster is only available for a month and the organization says it's going to be 2 weeks and then it ends up being 2 months, that is problematic, and sometimes that's not avoidable. Organizations don't always know how long the foster is going to be, but to the best of their knowledge, they need to be upfront about what is going to be involved with the foster placement, and that way fosters can make the best decision for the animal and for themselves. We definitely try to reduce the number of times a foster animal has to move around from home to home, because that can be really stressful on them. Ideally, an animal is only going to be in one foster home until they go back to the shelter or until they're adopted. So just to review a few ways you can say no, make sure that you have guidelines for yourself about what you're comfortable with in terms of fostering, length of time, care needs, type of animal, all that good stuff. You need to have those guidelines in your mind of what you're comfortable fostering. Check in with your partner, family, kids, whomever is in the decision-making process of deciding whether you're going to take in a new foster, and make sure that you give yourself time to check in with them. And if anyone in the group isn't feeling like fostering is a good time for them, then it might be time to say no to that foster placement. Also important to check in with yourself. How are you feeling? Are you up to fostering? Do you have a good mental, emotional, physical health right now? So that will help you in fostering. And then also an easy way to say no is to have a ready response. If you are not planning on fostering in a little bit, you can pull that response out if you get asked in person or over the phone. Let them know that you need time to think about it, or you're going on vacation, or you have to check in with your family first, and that makes it a little bit easier to say no for that foster placement. You should always feel comfortable to say no, and you should never feel pressure to foster. The best thing for everyone involved is if you are enthusiastic about fostering and it is a good time for you, because that means the animal is getting the best care possible. It means the animal can stay with you for the entire amount of time that they need, whether that's recovering from a surgery or whether that's until they get adopted. So it's really important that you only say yes to foster placements when you are comfortable and healthy, in physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health, and that everyone in your house is on board, and that you have the time and skills to put to that foster. I hope this video has been helpful. I'm going to show you Angel here for a second. This has been my snuggle buddy for the whole video. So I hope this video was helpful and informative. Keep an eye out for more videos on the channel about fostering, common foster care questions, and specifically fostering senior and medical needs animals. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment or message and I will answer as best I can. See you in the next video.